We're back, and today we're talking about Chibi reviews. He just dropped a video on Pluto, and I kind of have my thoughts. Some stuff I do agree with, some stuff I don't agree with. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, in Chibi's videos, he talks about the reasons why nobody's talking about Pluto as an anime, right? It came out, I believe, on Thursday at 3 a.m. And, not a lot of people are really talking about it. And there's a lot of reasons why I think that's the case, right? I don't think it's because of the Netflix binge format. In fact, I think that's the reason why a show like Pluto is actually helping it, right? Now, my quick thoughts regarding Pluto, right? I think episode 1 is the strongest episode. I have seen all 8 episodes now. I actually finished it a couple hours ago. But, episode 1, I think is definitely the strongest one. I absolutely love everything that happened in episode 1. But as I was watching more episodes with the 1 hour runtime, I kind of felt just not caring as much about these characters, right? We were introduced to new characters, and I just did not find myself connecting or caring at all. By the time I got to the end of the series, I was just really kind of burnt out, right? And now, if this was a weekly anime, I feel like a lot of people would have dropped it by episode 3, maybe even halfway through episode 2, right? And that's just my opinion, of course, right? I know a lot of people might love this series, but this is definitely a series that's not for everybody, right? I mean, when you think about the demographics of anime and manga, the biggest demographic is the shonen demographic, right? Because, it's action-packed, it has the comedy in there. It has a lot of stuff that a lot of people, younger audience, and heck, even adults like me, kind of, gravitate towards. But something like Pluto, where it's a seinen, the demographic is way smaller because, the audience is older. And, I enjoyed Pluto for what it was, but I can definitely see a large chunk of the anime and manga fandom really not enjoying this anime, right? Especially after like episode 1, because it's really, the action is not really there to keep some people actually entertained, and their neurons firing at 100%, right? So I definitely do think Pluto is definitely a hard anime to get into, especially if you don't enjoy that whole mystery side of anime, right? Now, if you enjoy those type of anime, of course you could probably watch this and think it's the best thing ever, and that is totally okay. But I definitely do think it's a factor when it comes to, whether people are talking about it or not. Now, Chibi Reviews, in his video, he also mentioned how essentially some anime, have a large fan base, and those anime like, Cyberpunk, Arcane, stuff like that usually tend to do very well on Netflix. I mean, we also got to see it with the One Piece live action. I believe it's been in the top 10 worldwide or something like that for like 8 weeks straight or something like that, which is absolutely crazy. But of course, One Piece does have a large fandom, and that's a good point to make, because when you think about Pluto, right, it's set in the Astro Boy universe, and Astro Boy was definitely big back in probably the early 80s, maybe late 70s, whenever Astro Boy was around. Definitely one of the biggest, most iconic anime and manga ever. But it's 2023. I don't think that audience has kind of stay actually active. I mean, when you think about it, something like Pluto will probably have a really small cult following that essentially is not going to carry a show to the extent that we wish a show like Pluto to actually be talked about. I mean, it's kind of sad, but that's kind of the reality that we got to live in, right? It's just that not every show can have the popularity it deserves. It sucks, but we got to deal with it. You know what I mean? Now, of course, Chibi Reviews also mentioned that this season is absolutely jam-packed with some crazy stuff. I mean, we got, of course, Jujutsu Kaisen. We got the new one, Frieren Beyond Journey's End. And I honestly feel like the competition was honestly way too hard for something like, Pluto to actually kind of survive here. Hey, even if you look at some of the list of all the upcoming anime in the seasons, Pluto was kind of hidden in the OVA section, which, when I first was going through the list of every new upcoming anime, I honestly missed Pluto because it wasn't in the main page that kind of everybody uses, right? It was on the OVA section, and maybe not a lot of people look in that section, right? Which kind of goes to kind of his point that really not a lot of people knew that it was coming out or that it had already released. And of course, you can kind of go into the marketing thing of anime, how well it's marketed, but really not every anime is marketed to the level of something like Jujutsu Kaisen or something like the Demon Slayer or something like that, right? I feel like Pluto getting a couple of trailers in there is the equivalent of something like for example, Shangri-La Frontier. Shangri-La Frontier didn't get a lot of marketing as well, but it is a fairly popular anime, and I don't think it's because it's a weekly anime, right? Again, I don't think a binge format and a weekly anime really has anything to do with how successful an anime really is when in terms of, people talking about it. It's just, whether people like it, whether people enjoy it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Chibi reviews video. Let me know what you think. And like always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace out. Bye.